Suppose in a question the portfolio variance and covariance is not given, then we have to calculate the variance and covariance. So for calculating the variance and covariance, we had earlier known that the covariance between two securities may be expressed as the product of correlation coefficient between the two securities and the standard deviation of the two securities. So using that formula, hence the formula for computing portfolio variance may also be stated in the following form: sigma I equal to 1 to n, j equal to 1 to n, xi xj into rij sigma I sigma j. That is, so we can see that in a example they have given here xi, that is the proportion 0.35, 0.25, 0.40. So in this case they have given the standard deviation, the proportion and the correlation coefficients between P and Q, P and R, Q and R. So you have to think that it is noted that correlation coefficient between P and P will be 1, Q and Q will be 1, R and R will be 1. And therefore you have to remember that the diagonals show the variance and the other entries shows the covariance. So we are going to calculate it. How we are calculating is that first row is 1 into 7 into 7. So how come it is 1 into 7 into 7? That is, we know the P and P correlation is 1. So we denote it as 1, and the 7 is sigma I. So P and P 1 into 7 into 7. The next one 0.7 into 7 into 16. That is P and Q. So 0.7 into P7 Q16. Next one that is P and R. So 0.3 into P and R. So P7 and R9. Then comes the second row, first column, 0.7. That is, it is Q and P. So Q and P is again 0.7 into Q16 and P7. Then again 1 into 60 into 16. That is, Q and Q is 1. Q and Q is again 16, 16. Again, second row, third column, it is the combination of Q and R. So Q and R is 0.4 correlation, Q16, R9. Coming to the third row, first column, R and P. R and P is 0.3 correlation into R is 9, P is 7. Again coming to the second column, R and Q. R and Q correlation is 0.4 into 9 for R, Q16. And the third row, third column, R and R. So 1 into R value is 9 into 9. So therefore we have got the variance covariance matrix. And then the portfolio variance can be calculated using the covariance matrix as shown below. Again, now the next step is the same. We have set the covariance variance matrix. So now we have to multiply each cell with the proportion of funds invested. So first cell will be 0.3 into 0.3 into this column. So either you can multiply it and make it a different covariance matrix, or you can make it as 0.35 into 1 into 7 into 7 plus 0.35, 0.25 into 0.7 into 7 into 16, and at last reaching 0.40 into 0.40 into 1 into 9 into 9. So summing it up, we get the portfolio variance as 65.4945 and the portfolio deviation as 8.09. So we were actually seeing the stage of portfolio analysis. So portfolio is a combination of assets, and from a given set of assets we can create a huge number of portfolios. So each portfolio is characterized by its expected return and risk. Determining the expected return and risk of each portfolio that can be created from a set of selected securities is the first step in portfolio management and is called portfolio analysis. So what did we learn in this class was that how to calculate the portfolio risk and return of a portfolio consisting of more than two securities. So the formula for portfolio risk was the portfolio return was the same, that is we have to multiply the portfolio security return with the proportion of funds invested. And for calculating the portfolio variance, we have to set up a covariance variance matrix, and we have to pair each securities, and we have to multiply the covariance variance matrix and add it up and find the portfolio variance. So in this chapter we saw what was portfolio analysis. So portfolio analysis means we have different securities which we found out through the security analysis. Then we are using these securities and we are combining these securities in different proportions. So we can make it into any number of portfolios, and then we are calculating the risk and return of each of this portfolio. Why we are calculating the risk and return of each of this portfolio is to select the best portfolio. So the best portfolio will be usually the securities with less risk and more return.